They didn't. They went offense again. And I mean, last year they did it draft and free agency. This year they did it free agency and draft. So Ben Johnson saying, listen, I'm going to clean up my side of the ball. We'll get the defense later. Yep. So they go Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, who's could be a very interesting player, and Ozzie Trapilo, who Matt Hasselbeck, by the way, likes. What did you make of those? Yeah. What did you make of those first three picks and how they'll help Caleb Williams?
Well, they're going to play a lot of 12 personnel. You know, a lot of people thought they'd take Tyler Warren, but Tyler Warren is a redundancy for them because Cole Kmet stylistically is the same kind of player. We could say Warren's better, but stylistically, in the context of their offense, they're the same player. So they went with the more athletic tight end in Loveland, who gives them more. So they'll play with 12 personnel at times, and they'll be really difficult. And then Luther Burden, I mean, I loved Luther Burden's tape. And I think Luther Burden, in the context of a Ben Johnson offense, and I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to do exactly what Amon-Ra St. Brown did, because you never know. But I think that he stylistically fits that role in a Ben Johnson offense. And I think, you know, with Burden now, they can line up in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. They can line up in 11 personnel with Odunze, Moore, and Burden. I mean, this is a really, really good offense in terms of the skill players. And Trapilo didn't surprise me at all that he went where he did. I studied his tape. He's a really good player. He played right tackle at BC. They're going to have to make a decision as to whom becomes the left tackle, whether they can move Trapilo there, who's played that in college, or Darnell Wright, who's been their right tackle. But Trapilo is a really, really good prospect. So I love what they did on the offensive side of the ball.
So,
yeah, as you guys know, I wholeheartedly agree. And I just could not be higher on this team. And it's so funny to me because I still see pushback. You know, anytime I make a Chicago Bears video, I see a lot of pushback. And I get it. I do. And you have a lot of fans who they've been burned once or twice, you know, or 1,000 times. And I get it. You know, a lot of people are saying, like, man, I want to get excited, but I just got to wait. I just got to wait. And I get it. I really do. And what I'll say to you is, to those types of fans, is just enjoy the optimism, enjoy the fun, enjoy the offseason. Because you're right, you have no idea how it's going to go. So you may as well just enjoy the optimism, the excitement, the hope, the faith, the confidence, you know, over these next few months. Honestly. I mean, you listen to Greg Cosell talk about this. And I think it was so key what he was talking about in terms of the draft picks that they got, because they wanted to draft people that were going to now add versatility, depth, complement the existing pieces, not just pick someone who they think is maybe better or, you know, whatever it may be. They're like, how do the picks that we drafted, how do they fit into the offense of the guys that we already have, and how can we improve and build off of? It's just smarter decision making, quite frankly. It's not just fantasy football where it's like, let's just take this guy, you know, this guy's ranked 9th, this guy's ranked 8th, so we're gonna take those guys. Like, you know, it's a lot more in depth. It's actually assessing what you have, assessing what you can get, and figuring out how do these pieces fit. And the beautiful thing about all this is, because when you listen to Greg Cosell talk about kind of all the different things that they want to do offensively, I mean, it just put a smile on my face. You have the master offensive mind. You have Ben Johnson. You have the guy that knows how to pull all the strings. If you want to criticize Ben Johnson for sometimes trying to do too much or being too aggressive or too much with the trick plays, or, you know, because a lot of people blamed him for the loss against the Lions, and that wasn't a perfect game by him, by no means. Was not a perfect game by no means. You know, I criticized him. You know, and the criticism is, you know, valid. Tom Brady did, like, during the broadcast. That's all well and good. But that's part of his evolution as a head coach. One, it's good that he made those mistakes with the Detroit Lions, because he's going to grow and evolve and improve himself. And two, at the minimum, he at least, though, knows what he's doing. Like, none of the stuff that he does is accidental. Everything he does is intentional. Now, if, again, you want to say if he's intentionally too aggressive at times, that's fine. That's totally fair. But I'm confident that he is going to be able to pulse this offense and be able to understand when it's time to put the metal to the pedal to the floor, the pedal to the metal, whatever it is, and when to kind of just, ease. Like I think he's going to really understand the importance of balance. That he's not going to try to just copy and paste the ultra hyper relentless aggression that the Detroit Lions brought, because you need to be able to know how to play in multiple gears. When you look at all the great teams, if we just take the great teams over the last 4, 5, 6 years, they all the ones that truly won and truly got over the mountaintop and won a Super Bowl, which I guess at this point it was only 2 teams, I guess, depending on how far we want to go back, the Chiefs and the Eagles. They know how to play different ways. The Lions definitely became one note. I believe that was more Dan Campbell more than anything. It was just pedal to the metal. It was just like go, 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 go. And it was just like never stopping. That's an exhausting way to play for years. It's an important way to play when you're trying to rebuild something, when you're trying to build a culture. But like the Bears don't need to do that, quite frankly. And that's why I'm so excited to see how Ben Johnson handles this when he's number one, right? He doesn't have to work off Dan Campbell anymore. Like he's the number one. And I really, really believe it's going to be more balanced. I think he still wants to be aggressive at the core of it. But I just think it's going to be balanced. I think he's going to put a lot of trust in Caleb Williams. I think he's going to do a beautiful job at instilling confidence and trust in Caleb, which I think will help him get settled. One of the best ways to get settled and start to feel confident is when a coach puts the game, puts the play, puts the momentum in your hands, but doesn't make you feel that if you fail, if you don't succeed, that it's over, right? And that now gives you the room to be like, okay, I'm trusted here to succeed, but my worth isn't measured based off of whether or not I succeed in this singular moment. Because again, every single player fails. And it is something that you have to learn as a young up and coming athlete, is that you in the beginning of your career, you feel like every time you don't succeed, every incompletion, even a quarterback who's thrown 1 million incompletions in their life, every incompletion feels like it's like, oh my God, they're going to think that I can't throw the ball. Oh my God, can I not throw now? Oh my God, am I ever going to be able, like everything just gets so compounded. Everything. You see this in basketball beautifully because obviously you're taking so many shots, and it's like every shot that doesn't fall, you feel that feeling, especially if you try out for a new team, you make a new team, you get drafted, whatever it is, you're always trying to, earn it, prove it to the fans, to the other players around you, to the coaching staff. And like every miss feels so extra. And that's what I really felt like happened with Caleb. Everything felt so extra. Every missed throw, every bad throw, every incompletion, even a ball that went off that was a good throw, but like they still dropped it. And that's what I said last year with this team. It was like, when it was time for the Chicago Bears, the team itself, minus Caleb, to help Caleb, to make a big play for him, to pick him up, the ball literally went through their hands. And then when it was time for Caleb to rise to the occasion, the ball sailed over the receiver's hands or something. So it was just like everything just compounded, right? And so there was no way for them to build confidence and momentum. And I just think that based off what I saw, especially Ben Johnson, and again, it's Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell at that point with the Lions, what they were able to do with Jared Goff, because there was a rebuilding of Jared Goff and a lot of rebuilding of his confidence when you get shipped off like that. You just do. It was obviously hard on Jared Goff, which is why the Lions responded how they did, especially when they beat the Rams and all that. Like it's a real thing. And so, Caleb does need to be rebuilt here. And from all accounts, like he wants to be, he's excited to be, right? He's going there hat in hand saying, make me better. And you have the coach now that knows how to build the team, organize the team, execute the team. And, and it's just, I've said this in so many of my Bears videos now. It's just so hard for me to not see this team be great. I can't, I'm like trying to think of the ways. Anytime I have a firm opinion, anytime I really have any opinion, I always automatically try to look at the counter of it, right? If I say the Bears are, I'm not saying this, but let's say I say the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl. That's how I really feel to my core, to my heart. No one's going to stop them. They're going to go undefeated. Caleb Williams is going to throw for 5,000 yards. Ben Johnson is going to win, the Super Bowl. He's going to be the first coach. He's going to be the greatest coach in the history of the world. I immediately be like, okay, those are strong views, obviously. And I immediately try to think, how could that not happen though? Outside of injuries and nonsense like that, like where could things go wrong? I'm like, was it the defense? And that's why I kept talking about it. I was like, maybe the defense could be a limiting factor. Maybe. And again, not a prediction, just saying. Because I just look at this offense and I'm just like, how can this not be a just well-run machine? I just can't see it go any other way. Like I said, outside of Caleb Williams being a true absolute bust and Ben Johnson just being so overwhelmed. And I just don't see how that's going to happen. And considering how we already saw Caleb play last season, I'm confident that if you took his identical level of play, his identical skill set, his identical ability to be accurate, inaccurate, read defenses, go through progressions, whatever, I still think that if you just bring in Ben Johnson, add in a couple of the pieces, the O-line, the draft, etc., that you're still going to get a better product, significantly better. If Caleb was a 5, if you take the exact version of him, if Caleb was a 5, and therefore this offense was a 5 last season, if you take the exact Caleb Williams, the 5, and bring him onto this team now with Ben Johnson and with this newer cast of characters, I cannot see this offense staying at a 5. It has to go to a 7, 8, 9. So it's just, Caleb doesn't even need to improve. He doesn't even need to prove to be a generational talent and the #1 overall pick. If he's just the exact same quarterback that he was, this team is light years away as long as the defense holds their own. As long as the defense doesn't just now completely collapse and, start giving up Cincinnati Bengals level points. So I still want to find the ways how my conclusion can be wrong, but I just struggle to get there. Which then makes me just feel stronger with my conclusions, and I get a greater courage of my conviction, quite frankly. So I am with 100% on the Chicago Bears hype train, and I'm just not leaving it anytime soon, honestly. It's yeah, it's gonna be. I think watching the Bears, they might have the most energy behind them because people felt so dissatisfied, obviously, with last year. And, when you have a young quarterback like that, you're kind of weighing like, okay, will he catch his stride? Will he catch his stride? Will they get momentum going? Will they get momentum going? They obviously never did. And I just feel like it's going to be so locked in and hyper focused on this team. I'm excited to see now how Caleb Williams looks with success. I'm excited to see the things that he talks about, how he deals with, if he has a game where he plays great, they go on a 3-game win streak. They beat like a whatever top, what other team that's like playing really well at the time, and they win. Like, I'm excited to see some of the things he says. Does he downplay it at all? Does he give it to the other, teammates? We're probably going to get some generic platitudes. Oh, it's only week 5. It's all about later. Like every person under the sun always has. So I'm excited to see what type of information we get from him, and I'm excited to see what it looks like when he wins. I want to see what he looks like when he wins 4 games in a row and then loses 3 games in a row, right? I want to see what it looks like when he's been playing great, has a lot of momentum, and then has back-to-back like kind of bad games, and see how he gets through that, how the up and down of your career, how you can find the stability in all of that. Like, that's, we saw what it looked like when he was struggling for a whole season and coaches being fired and rumors of him being benched. Like, we saw that, and I think he did pretty well considering all things are considered. It's like, now I want to see the different evolutions of that, the different variations of that. So there's still so much more to learn with this team, and I'm certainly excited to go for the ride. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears? How explosive do you think Chicago's new look offense will be? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.